This is you. You were born on a planet where the weak don't survive childhood. Not a metaphor. 3 children were born the same week as you. By the time you turn 4, 2 of them are dead. The third one is you. And you are still here because you refuse to be anything else. The planet is called Viltrum. White towers that disappear into a perfect blue sky. Viltrumites everywhere above you, arms at their sides, legs together, cutting through the air like they were never meant to touch the ground. When they stop, they hover perfectly still, arms folded across their chests. Nobody walks on Viltrum if they can help it. You grow up watching them and knowing, one day, that will be you. You just have to survive long enough. Your father is Valdron, a high-ranking officer in the Viltrumite Empire. He is not cruel. Cruelty implies emotion. He has no use for anything that can't contribute to the strength of the Empire. That includes you, if you ever stop being worth his attention. Once, when you were 5, you fell during a flight drill and started to cry. He descended, crouched to your eye level, and looked at you for a long time. You thought he was going to say something kind. He stood, turned, and flew away. One word over his shoulder. Pathetic. You never cried again. Your mother died on a conquest mission when you were 3. Valdron told you this once, in one sentence, with the same tone he would use to report a weather change. You opened your mouth to ask what happened. He looked at you. You closed your mouth. You never asked again. At age 6, formal training begins. The Proving Grounds, a vast open arena at the base of Viltrum's tallest spire. 4 other children in your group. That is the entire available pool. Viltrum's population never fully recovered from the Scourge Virus. The instructor is Kraos, a scarred veteran who has been fighting for 300 years. He looks at your group the way you look at something you're not sure is worth your time. He announces the rules in 2 words. Win or die. 2 children died in this arena last cycle. Kraos reported it as a successful filtering of weakness from the gene pool. He said it the way you'd say the weather. The first fight lasts 4 seconds. A boy twice your size grabs you by the throat and throws you into the arena floor, hard enough to leave a crater. You hit, and everything goes white. You get up. Because Kraos is watching, and on Viltrum, staying down is the last thing you ever do. You duck under the boy's arm, drive your elbow into the nerve cluster under his ribs, and throw yourself onto his back. He slams you into the wall. Twice. On the 3rd slam, your grip tightens instead of loosening. You find the pressure point behind his jaw and press it hard. His legs go. He hits the ground face first. Kraos stares at you. He doesn't nod. He simply moves on to the next fight. But he never looks at you the same way again. Second week of training, a boy named Maldus refuses to get up after a fight. He raises his hand. Kraos lands in front of him. He looks down for one long moment. Then he kills him where he lies. No anger. No ceremony. He turns to the rest of the group and says the Empire has no use for what just happened. 3 of you left. Dracon. Reckless, loud, convinced raw power can solve everything. Verath. Quiet, precise, who studies every situation before she moves. And you. You understand that the only people on this planet who will ever be something close to allies are standing right here. You train harder than anyone. Not because you love it, because the alternative is what you just watched happen to Maldus. You learn to fly at age 9. Kraos teaches it the only way Viltrumites teach anything. He throws you off the top of the spire. You fall for 3 full seconds. Then something in your chest locks into place. And then you're flying. Arms at your sides, legs together, cutting through the air the way you watch them do it your entire life. Viltrum spreads out beneath you. All of it suddenly small. At 13, Dracon nearly kills a child. Advanced combat drill in the city. He miscalculates the force on a strike. His hit misses the target and collapses a market stall onto a child standing beside it. The child survives. Barely. Kraos descends before the dust settles. He speaks very quietly. He tells Dracon that if the child had died, so would he. Dracon doesn't sleep for 3 days. You watch the whole thing and realize something that unsettles you. You were relieved the child survived, not because of the child, but because of what would have happened to Dracon. And you don't know what that says about you. At 16 comes the day of adulthood. No ceremony. No celebration. You fight Valdron. A real fight, with real consequences. Watched by Viltrumites, there to judge whether the bloodline produced something worth keeping. Valdron lands across from you and looks at you the same way he has looked at you every single morning of your life. Like he is waiting to see if you are worth his time. He moves first. You survive the first 3 seconds on pure instinct. The 4th second, you start fighting back. He hits you so hard you leave a crater in the arena wall. You peel yourself off. You go back at him. This continues for 11 minutes. You don't win. You were never going to win. But you make him work for every inch. When you go down and can't rise, he stands over you. The same face. The same look. Then he reaches down, one sharp pull upward. He holds your arm up. You are recognized. He drops your arm, turns, and flies away without a word. No word over his shoulder this time. And somehow, that silence means more than anything he has ever said to you. 3 weeks later, Valdron calls you in. He tells you Kraos filed a concern. Your pulse doesn't change, but inside, something goes cold. Half a second of hesitation during your last assessment drill. Kraos measured it. Valdron tells you half a second is the difference between a Viltrumite and a liability. He says if Kraos files another concern, the Empire will not wait for a third. You walk out and stand in the corridor. You know exactly what caused the hesitation. The target in the drill had been running away, not fighting. Running. You train harder. You make sure Kraos never has a reason again. At 17, Valdron gives you your first real mission. He stands at the window when you enter. Arms folded across his chest, even indoors, even at rest. He tells you a civilization has refused Empire contact for 4 cycles. They have been warned twice. They chose defiance. He says you will go and explain the consequences of that choice. You ask what happens if they still refuse. He says they don't refuse. He says they submit or they are removed. He says remove the way you'd say discarded. You nod. You leave. In the corridor, you stop. Somewhere out there is a planet full of people who have no idea you exist. In 30 days, everything about their world will change. You tell yourself this is what you were made for. The words feel correct, but something underneath them doesn't have a name yet. You see the planet from orbit. 2 moons. Oceans like hammered copper. Cities of pale white stone that glow when the light hits them. Your first thought is that it's beautiful. Your second thought lands on top of it, like a stone dropped into water. You're here to end it. You enter the atmosphere at speed, one arm forward, body angled, legs trailing. Your landing cracks the plaza 30 meters in every direction. Their military arrives within minutes. You stand in the barrage and feel the rounds hitting you like rain. They can't scratch you, but they keep firing. You dismantle them in under an hour. No deaths. You decided that before you landed. Their leader meets you in the ruins of her command building. Old woman. Silver hair. A jaw that doesn't shake even with you standing 3 feet in front of her. She asks one question. By who? Not why. Not under what right. Just by who? You open your mouth to give the trained answer. But standing under the copper sky you just broke, the trained answer doesn't come. You tell her simply, I was sent. She nods once and turns away. You fly back into space. That question follows you into the dark, like a weight you can't shake. By who? On your third mission, Verath is assigned alongside you. The resistance is stronger than expected. Their weapons actually register. You are managing the ground forces when Verath's signal cuts off mid-transmission. You find her 3 blocks away, alive, but on one knee, a weapon having burned through her suit and scorched her side. Still fighting. You stand over her and take the fire while she recovers. You agree not to report the suit damage. On Viltrum, being wounded is a reportable event. A reportable event is a flag. A flag means Kraos writes a concern. A week later, you find out someone reported it anyway. Verath is called before a review board. 3 senior Viltrumites who look at her the way Kraos looked at Maldus. They rule it an acceptable incident. This time, Verath walks out and says nothing. But her expression, for one moment, is the same as yours in that corridor after Valdron's warning. On your 5th mission, Dracon goes too far. Small civilization. Minimal resistance. The kind of mission designed to be clean. But a commander fires at Dracon from behind after the engagement is called over. The shot doesn't hurt him. Dracon's response does. By the time you reach him, 3 city blocks are gone. Not damaged. Gone. Dracon stands in the ash with his arms folded across his chest. His expression is completely calm. He says the commander shouldn't have fired. You look at Dracon, and you understand for the first time that you and Dracon are not the same kind of thing. You file the report together. You list the casualties as collateral damage from initial resistance. You lie on an official Empire report. You tell yourself you did it to protect Dracon. For days after, you aren't sure that's the whole truth. On your 8th mission, a Viltrumite soldier named Rinnock dies. 60 years of service. Killed not by the planet's military, but by a black market weapon acquired from another conquered world's remnants. You carry his body out yourself. The mission report says, successful subjugation. Rinnock appears in one line. Casualty. Expected. Something shifts that day that doesn't shift back. After the debrief, Verath finds you. Then she asks you something you don't expect. She says, "Do you actually believe in any of this anymore?" The silence that follows is the most honest thing either of you has said out loud since training. She tells you what she's been sitting with. If the Empire nearly died from the Scourge Virus and rebuilt by seeding half-breeds across foreign worlds, by making itself look invincible while barely surviving, then what exactly is the strength the Empire claims to represent? Is it real? Or is it the most elaborate performance of strength in the history of the universe? Before you can decide what to do with any of it, Verath disappears. Just gone. Her name removed from the duty roster. You go to Kraos. He tells you she was reassigned. He says it the way Valdron says removed. You ask where. He looks at you for a very long time. Then he says that is not information you are cleared for. You go to Dracon. Dracon already knows. He tells you she wasn't reassigned. Voice flat. He says she questioned the justification for the civilian casualties on the 5th mission. Your mission. Your report. Your lie. Verath paid for your lie with her life. You stand with that. You go to Valdron. Not with a report. With a question. You ask him if what the Empire calls strength is actually strength. Or if it is something built on the ruins of 50 survivors so afraid of dying out that they spent centuries pretending they were invincible. He says the Scourge Virus is not a secret. He says the Empire looked at near extinction and chose to survive. He says that is the definition of strength. You tell him surviving isn't the same as being right. The silence in the room is the loudest thing you have ever heard. He turns to the window. He says the universe does not care about right. It cares about who is still standing. You tell him you're done. And for the first time in your life, Valdron looks at you with something that isn't flat. He says you are making the last decision you will ever need to make. He says either you walk back through that door and report for assignment, or he files the paperwork himself. You know what that paperwork means. Removal. You look at him. The man who said pathetic to a 5-year-old and flew away. The man who told you your mother died like he was reading a report. The man who just explained to you that Verath's life was the cost of the Empire's survival and doesn't even register it as a cost. You walk out. They come for you that same night. Valdron filed immediately. 4 Viltrumite warriors outside your quarters before dawn. You hear them from 300 meters away. You're already gone. You punch through the upper atmosphere, one arm forward, body angled, legs trailing, and keep going. Viltrumites can hold their breath for weeks. You simply fly. Viltrum shrinks behind you. The white towers disappear first. Then the planet. Then the star it orbits, until there's nothing behind you but dark. You slow. You float. No mission. No rank. No Viltrum. Just you and the dark and everything you've done to get here. The 4 warriors behind you are still flying. They are not stopping. They will never stop. The Empire does not lose assets quietly. You know this better than anyone. 3 children were born the same week as you. 2 are dead. And now, the Empire has decided you should be next.